ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Good morning, sports fans from all around the world. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for 3 Men in the Box today, as Q is on assignment. Matt Grissom on his way to the airport, and Nick Cathcart here to talk some college baseball. We'll get a re-entry Friday, see how the midweeks went for everyone here. Big slate, obviously. Weekend number 3 in the NCAA. So apologies to X and Twitter. I don't know what's going on here with StreamYard. I got people working diligently trying to get us on. Go follow us. We sent the tweet out to YouTube. Go follow us on YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors to watch us live there. Shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Go on over, introduce yourself to Terry Smith on Facebook. While you're there, head back on over to atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Place an order today. You could be grilling by Monday. Viva Tequila Seltzer. CT Bets, Austin, the team, second to none. 6 flavors in all. The East Coast is cuckoo for coconuts. And last but never least, WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download the app. It is free. Without further ado, Mr. Matt Grissom and Mr. Nick Cathcart. What's up, boys?
How's it going, Jeffrey?
It's going. Look at.
Hey, what's up, Jeff?
What's up? I think this is starting to be, last year it was on a golf course live, on the way to a golf course. We've done it on the way to the airport. Rumor has it you're heading to Vegas.
I am. Nothing like trying to plan a trip 24 hours before you leave.
Those are the best. Just throw in a carry-on and get on the road and adios.
I feel like I'm forgetting everything.
Well, it used to be just packing the clothes. Now it's, do I have this cord? Do I have that cord? Did I forget a cord?
Yeah, I'm not so much worried about that just because I can always buy something there if it's a cord. It's more like, did I remember my laptop? Did I remember to make sure the dog is being taken care of and all the other things like that?
Midweek, we do our show on Tuesdays around 10:30 a.m. Nick, what'd you see this week in the midweek games?
Yeah, I had a good midweek. Made about 4 units over Tuesday and Wednesday, so can't complain too much. It was another one where some dogs were barking, which happens in the midweek. I mentioned it on Tuesdays. Some of these kind of Sunbelt teams and lower mid-majors show up because it matters so much for their RPI. We saw Texas State get a huge win over kind of it's weird to say struggling A&M team. It just seems like they're kind of sleeping through the first half of their season until they'll probably pick it up around like SEC time because they're way too talented to be struggling like they are. Southern Miss played awesome. That was another great one. We saw Liberty absolutely smash Duke. So midweek, as college baseball fans like to say, like it just happens. Every single midweek is so strange, and you get some of these upsets that you wouldn't expect. But yeah, it was great overall. Kind of lived up to the hype, and this season is off to a great start.
Matt?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a trend of teams that perform offensively terrible one weekend. They're going to release havoc during the midweek. So just keep an eye on that. I think Arkansas, everybody saw they struggled against TCU, Kansas State, Michigan, really offensively. Michigan, they kind of blew it open there towards the end. But you look at Arkansas taking on Grambling in the midweek. That was a for sure over. Even if it became a run rule game, I think Arkansas had played it like 14 runs by the 5th or 6th inning. So embrace the we don't have any offense and go out and prove it against a weaker competition just means an auto overbet.
You know, we don't like to bet on the come here. It doesn't usually end well. We're into week 3, Friday Night Lights. Matt Grissom, give me a team that has sleptwalked through the first 2 weeks. It's got a pretty decent matchup here that you think will raise some havoc and cash some tickets this weekend to get back on the map.
I'm excited to see Matthew Becker and South Carolina take on Clemson. You know, I was really high on Clemson coming into the season. I thought they were a live dog to win the ACC. Would probably be an Omaha team. Paul Maneri at South Carolina. Matthew Becker has like a .09 Sierra right now, but they haven't really played anybody. So sitting at 9-0, I'm curious to see how the Gamecocks take on the Palmetto series here as they'll bounce around from Clemson to Columbia to, I think, Greenville, playing a little 3-game series against their bitter rival. I think South Carolina gets one, and why not be tonight with Matthew Becker on the mound?
Nick?
Yeah, I mean, let's see what Mississippi State does. Kind of rebound off. I mentioned like the midweek loss. Southern Miss, obviously a great team, but like Pico Cone, they're traveling out of Houston. They're in that Houston, I think it's called the Houston Classic now, at the Astro Stadium. No longer Minute Maid Ballpark, which I think is a shame. Like that was one of the best stadium names there was, and they had to change it for corporate reasons. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. They play Rice tonight. I actually have them in a I have Mississippi State in a parlay. So I'll go say and mention that. I think they're a great parlay piece. Pico Cone, who's going to start for them tonight, is 3rd in the country in strikeout percentage. He's been awesome for them. And I think if he keeps that up, that kind of changes the trajectory of what Mississippi State's season can be like. That can make them a top 5, or not top 5, 5 to 8-ish team in SEC. So I think it's going to be a little bit better competition that they're facing this weekend. So I'm going to wait and see what they do.
Matt, this would be more a Q question, but I'm going to throw it at you anyways. Miami travels to Florida, a great interstate rivalry overnight. Florida minus 190 right now on DraftKings, 195 with an 11.5. Tough spot for the Hurricanes tonight, or are they a live dog?
Yeah, it's going to be one I'm watching tonight. I really like Griffin Hughes, who is their Saturday guy. The problem is Florida's got a pretty good Saturday guy, too, in Pierce Capalla. Both of them are a sub-1 Sierra, so this is going to be a pitcher's duel on Saturday. Tonight, I feel like this is going to kind of set the tone. As Q alluded to on our show, this series is never tight. It's usually a blowout one way or the other. I don't think Saturday will be, but if Florida blows them out, and by blow them out I mean like 8-3, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow is an under game and it stays pretty close.
I saw one other one I wanted to ask you guys,
but Florida, I've got to give Florida a lot of credit. They're a lot better than what I was giving them credit for coming into the season. Like the pitching staff looks to really be clicking. Their bats that, you know, they lost Jack Caglione and a couple others, but they've really just picked it up without taking any lack of power. Really, I mean, you look across the country, they're one of the best hitting and pitching teams.
Nick. I'm not the expert. You guys are the experts here, but I smell something fishy here.
Don't go where I think you're going to go.
Overnight, Texas Tech opened up minus 145. Okay. Now they're getting a little money, 154. They're at Illinois, over 15. They're expecting some runs here. Is actually Illinois a live dog here, or this is going to be the first one to, 9 or 10 wins this game?
Yeah, so we actually discussed this one kind of briefly on the show. This is one Matt's going to see in person. This is being played in Vegas at that tournament. The total is so high because this ballpark just runs like it's a big field, but the ball flies. So a lot of this weekend you're going to see totals between 14.5. I think Texas Tech tomorrow is probably going to be at like 17 or 17.5 is a total. Like it's just one of those types of tournaments. But No, I think Texas Tech. Mac Hewer is still a better arm. Who's starting for Texas Tech tonight? I think they've had probably one of the toughest schedules in the country so far. They flew out. They challenged themselves early, and they went to North Carolina weekend one, who is one of the top 5 pitching staffs in the entire country. Probably like right now playing like top 3 overall team. And then they went back home this past weekend, and UC Irvine is also probably going to be a host, like a top 16 type of host team in the NCAA tournament. So it's like their first 2 weekends, like, yeah, the record, I don't think portrays how good this Texas Tech team actually is. I'm down on Illinois this year. I don't think they're a top half of the Big Ten type of team this year. So the line movement is very weird to me. I think people are like looking at the records more than they are the actual teams. Like Illinois was impressive. Like they go down to Texas State, and I think they took 2 of 3 last week against a very good Texas State team, who I mentioned beat A&M in the midweek. But I still think Texas Tech is still the favorite here for a reason, and I think they get it done today.
Hey, Matt, I'm looking at another one. Vandy, UCLA. Vandy opened up 165 overnight, and now 175 with a 10 under. There's actually a 9.5 in some shops. Expecting a pretty good pitcher's duel here. You got one of Vandy. We know about their pedigree. The UCLA team, maybe not as strong as they've been the last few years. Still, a little respect here to UCLA in the number.
Yeah, this is probably the one game on the board that I would want no part of. It's just kind of a watch and see. I don't know if it's going to be a pitcher's duel or a lack of hitting duel. We'll see. But both of these teams we've seen over the last few years, they can go into big hitting slumps. Mix that with some pretty decent pitching. I do think this is probably an under, but being so low at 9.5, 10, I would just stay away from it.
Before we get to you guys' selections for the weekend, Nick, give us your weekend outlook for the Tennessee Vols.
Yeah, I actually got cut off on Matt cut me off on our show because I was talking too much and too highly about Tennessee. So I'll just add on to it here. But no, it's one of those where I've been impressed, overly impressed. Like there was question marks about the pitching staff coming in to the season about what their starting rotation would look like. We knew the offense. With Tony Vitello always puts together an incredible offense. Josh Elander, the hitting coach, recruiting coordinator, they can always bang. So it was kind of, let's see what their starting rotation does. Getting AJ Russell back, who started on Tuesday, is massive. We'll see what his outlook looks like for the rest of the season. He'll end up their Friday or Saturday guy, probably in a few weeks, maybe come SEC time. But yeah, I've just been super impressed. Let's find out this week, though. I mean, they played Hofstra. They played a very good Sanford team last weekend. But this weekend, they're down in Houston. They get Oklahoma State today. One of my plays, I'll go ahead and give it away. I took Tennessee -1.5. I think Liam Doyle starting against Oklahoma State. Liam Doyle is leading the country in strikeout percentage at 76%. That's right. He struck out 76% of the batters he's faced, which is just a nutty number. In Oklahoma State, in all of Holiday's tenure there, like they're known to strike out a lot. So it's not a good recipe for this Oklahoma State kind of, who's very talented offensively, but they're one of those teams that relies on a 2 or 3 run home run, and that just doesn't really happen against Tennessee pitching staffs. So I do like Tennessee here at the -1.5 price.
Give us the hog report, Matt.
Taking on Charlotte this weekend. We lost Gage Wood for a few weeks with a shoulder impingement. He is going to be backed by SEC player. They're hopeful for that. But Landon Bottleshees, we've just got an embarrassment of riches on the mound. I said on our show, he was going to be our game 4 starter, if you will. He started against Washington State in that opening series where we got to play 4 games. But he was piggybacked with Zach Root and Arlington. Just together, those two put together a hell of a performance. You're going to get Gackle and then Root and then Bottleshees on Sunday. I mean, I'll be disappointed if Arkansas doesn't sweep. I mean, this is prime time. Dave Van Horn, just you beat up on the weaker team.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get some selections for the weekend so Matt can get to the airport. So bear with us, and we'll go, let me see here. There we go. Alrighty, Matt, since you're driving and I want you to focus on the road, any selections for tonight or the weekend?
Let me look real quick because I can't remember. I know I'm on Kansas State plus 3.5 on the run line. I I think they've got something working with Jacob Frost. He performed really well against Arkansas. This LSU team is good, but I'm not completely sold on them. It took a big inning to beat Dallas Baptist, and I could see them struggling to hit Frost. We'll see after it gets to the bullpen. They may ruin that bet for me, but then I like South Carolina plus 1.5. Also took, sorry, Kansas State plus 2.5, not 3.5. Baylor was the 3.5 against Oregon State. I'm not buying the Beavers. I know the guys were high on them coming into the season. I was a bit skeptical. I think Dax Whitney is their best arm. We'll see if Baylor can go toe to toe with them with their pitching staff. They have a really good pitching staff, especially for the Big 12. And then Michigan minus 125 at Long Beach State. I think the Wolverines are one of the most senior-led, junior-led teams in the country. The maturity, they really just had a bad luck streak in Arlington. I feel like they probably could have gotten out of there with a win, but too many walks. The bullpen kind of fell apart late, especially against that TCU team where they were leading for a little bit of it and then ultimately gave it away. But I think they can get right. Long Beach State's notably good at baseball. The history is shown, but I think Michigan, this is one where they get a big win.
Well, Matt, I want you to drive safely. I want you to tell Mr. Benson and Mr. Stevens we said hello. Before we get over to Nick, where can they find all your work? And I want you to focus on the road, sir.
At Grissom on X on Twitter, and then I don't know if I'll ever call it X, even though it's in the name. And then at collegebaseballinsiders.com, Nick Dimmitt's doing a fantastic job right now trying to appease some hateful followers, I guess, because we had a few of the pitching rotation. I just want to say, when you have 150 games just to come through and we have 7 pitchers wrong, I think that's what he was up to, even though now the majority of them have been corrected. It's not easy, but as I told Nick to tell him, we'll refund him his money he spent on using the website, which was $0. So if somebody can do it better, go do it, because we would use it.
Well, Matt, I always say this, you go on these historic runs, 19-2, 21-2, 30-2. And then they don't talk about the glory wins, the lucky wins, the walk-offs, the errors, the Texas leaguers. What they'll do is they'll talk about the 1 or 2 losses. Yeah, man, we really got screwed there. So I feel your pain, Matt.
Well, we're doing our best. That's all I can say.
Safe travels, Matt. Behave yourself, and we'll catch up with you on Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Thank
you, y'all.
All right, Nick, we're on to you. What do you got for selections today?
Yeah, I'm with Matt on Michigan. As I mentioned on our show, I think Dylan Vigneault has a nice bounce back day from last Friday. Long Beach is a good program. I think minus 125 is a little bit short, even though they're on the road. And then he mentioned Baylor in Oregon State. This is one of those. Ethan Calder, who transferred into Baylor, has been amazing for them so far this year. I love the under here. I'm not sure if it's available, like what you're seeing there, but I got the under at 12.5 overnight. I think it has moved down to 12, 11.5. I think it's still playable. This is being played in Arlington, so it's also a big ballpark, MLB ballpark. So kind of love like these two pitchers. Nelson Keljo for Oregon State's another one I like. So I think these two pitchers kind of turn this into a pitcher's duel in that ballpark. And I think 12.5 is just too big of a number. So that's another one. And then I mentioned Tennessee minus 1.5 is another play of mine. But I mean, if you join, I have 12 plays for the night. So it was actually a big card for me. Like I'm usually between kind of like 7 to 10 on Fridays. But there was a ton I loved on this slate. So I mean, yeah, our Doug Club account, you can see it on all of our sites, like NCAA Insiders or just mine. You join it, you get literally 12 plays, and kind of like Q said on our shows, kind of paid for it already. Like I'm like 4 units in the last whatever 3 days. Like basically, unless your unit size is like $5, then you've bought a subscription already just off of my like Tuesday and Wednesday play. So it's 1,000% worth it. And to get like 12 plays from me tonight, I think that's kind of the place to go. Like I said, I love the slate. It's a little bit light in terms of like massive matchups, but that's kind of where handicappers make their money. It's like, as you know, Jeff, it's not necessarily the huge games, because those games can people will put their money on it just to say they have money on it. But it's sort of the smaller games, smaller matchups where you can really find those great matchups and leans.
The less traveled waters, the less traveled, the low hanging fruit. Anyone can pick a winner on Michigan versus Notre Dame. That's what the books love. If I got 10 million on the left side on Michigan, I got 10 million on the right side on Notre Dame. Once the game is started, I just won $1 million, or should I say we just earned $1 million. I don't care who wins, but it's these small schools. Like last night, we had UC Irvine first half. We picked these small schools because no one else is on them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like college baseball, as niche of a sport as it is that's where you get those at. Like you mentioned UC Irvine. Was one of those where we cashed it a couple of times against Texas Tech. If you don't know college baseball that well, you don't think of UC Irvine as like a big school, but college baseball wise, UC Irvine is a powerhouse and will continue to be. Like they get almost every recruit out in California that they want. So it is kind of finding the smaller matchups that makes like what I do so much fun, but also time consuming, as you know. But it's also why we're successful.
Go follow Nick on X at nhathcote413. Check out the Dub Club to be an insider there. Obviously, you can follow Quentin Mills at Q Millie. That's 3 L's, 2 Y's. At Grissom on X, and of course the NCAA Insiders. Nick, have a great weekend, and we'll catch up with you on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be texting about tonight's games, Jeff. So I'll talk to you then.
Sir. Take care. NCAA Insiders, the best in the business. Go follow them. Check out their new partnership with Dub Club. When we come back, Mr. Sean Alvarez horsing around. Big weekend here at GulfStream at Santa Anita. You want to stay tuned. Trust me on that.
Jared, hey, we're going to need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of the stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
That's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Without further ado, it's been a while. Mr. Sean Alvarez. What's up, Sean?
Jeff, I play the broken record all the time, but it's always good to talk with you and talk horses. And, just like you got to chat with Matt and Nick earlier, baseball's right around the corner. College baseball started. It's a good time of the year to be a baseball fan and a fan of horse racing.
Well, we had a great year with you as always. I think it's our at least third year. We go through the big races. We went through the Derby, the Preakness, the Belmont, of course, we did the Breeders' Cup. Did a couple races in the off season, as we call them, and you reached out to me and says there's a couple big races this weekend at GulfStream at Santa Anita, of course. But I have to bring it up. I do because I know you saw the replay, and our Kentucky Derby, my Kentucky Derby is Forever Young, who I still think should have been the winner there. Ran an amazing race, $20 million race overseas last Saturday. Did you witness it? Did you watch it? What a race.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a little bit of it. Races like that, I will say, kind of drive me a little bit crazy because, they have so many European type horses that, their past performances and the way I handicap don't necessarily line up with our past performances. Don't really give me a lot of information. But like you said, I mean, it was a great race. There's actually been, a few really good races and Kentucky Derby preps kind of getting ready for this 2025 Kentucky Derby. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to, me, I always trying to beat a couple favorites, trying to get paid. Anybody can look at the board and say, everybody's betting that horse. Let's bet that one. But, I like to try and pick my spots and try and beat those horses, get paid a little bit better. So definitely an exciting time right now with, like you said, big races going on for older horses, but, we also get the 3-year-old males, vying for their spots in the starting gate in the Kentucky Derby come first Saturday in May. So, like I said, definitely an exciting time to be a horse racing fan.
Well, you just brought it up. The first Saturday in May, mint juleps, the hats, the stage can't be bigger, any bigger, I should say. And tomorrow is March 1st. We're 9 Saturdays away, Sean, from the Kentucky Derby. We talk about futures. Derek Stevens, Jeffrey Benson put up this sheet a mile long. Come on, come take a couple swings because we don't know which 20 horses will actually be there. Have you seen anything? Are there any of these horses that you kind of got an eye on, or is it still a process? It's a sit and wait, Sean.
There's one horse that I kind of have my eye on. Has only run the maiden race. Obviously, won that maiden race. Doesn't have any Kentucky Derby points, so I'm not gonna throw that name out quite yet. I want to see and make sure that horse is going to be on the Kentucky Derby trail. I've been bitten by that before, so I want to say give it a week, give it 2 weeks maybe, and let's see that horse at least pointed to a Kentucky Derby prep because. Truthfully, I think that all he needs is one race. He wins that race. He gets in the gate. So as it stands right now, kind of all the horses I'm looking at outside of this one, obviously, are all just kind of taking money. They're all kind of the favorites. There's not a lot of, there's not a lot of value to bet a horse 9 Saturdays, prior to the race when, we don't necessarily know what that horse is going to look like come that first Saturday in May. But, if we can get ahead of the fields, if we can get ahead of, at least the casinos and at least Mr. Benson, finding out about a horse that might come, might be the favorite, that first Saturday. Let's try and get that horse early. Maybe we can get something like 100-1. But, that's the other thing is, these casinos aren't putting up every 3-year-old male, every 3-year-old colt in the country. If they don't know about the horse, they're not putting it up, and you're getting the all other horses, which is like 7-2. I don't want 7-2, and I'm not going to the window and saying, "Hey, I really want $1,000 on this horse," because the odds I'm going to get on that horse is suddenly going to be 20-1. So let's see what it plays out, and let's see if we can't get a big price at least to get that horse in the gate and hold a juicy ticket, better than we're going to get pari-mutually.
2 tracks you want to talk about here. First race, Gulfstream, race number 12, the Grade 3 Honey Fox Stakes.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched about it. The 2, big races I want to, focus on is, the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth at Gulfstream and the San Felipe at Santa Anita. But, like you mentioned, we're not talking about those races because I love the favorites in those races, and anybody can come up with those horses. So, yeah, we're going to go 1 mile in a Grade 3 race at Gulfstream Park. And like I said, I'm looking for prices. And, when I was looking at races, I want to look at races that at least we can take a small stab at, getting paid decently. So I do like a few favorites in this race. They're well-warranted favorites and tax implications and, in our time, the 1 and the 8. But these fractions in this race, I just think they're going to be cooking up front. The 8's got to cross over, and the 8 wants the lead. So we've talked about it before. The pace makes the race, in my opinion. So I don't really like the favorite at 7-2, the 8, to close out those fractions. So kind of threw that horse out. And then the second choice, the 1, tax implications, trained by Chad Brown. There's obviously a lot to like about a Chad Brown horse, but we haven't seen this horse since December, coming from Del Mar. That ran a decent race, but couldn't get there in time. And now we're on a GulfStream track that the turf track at GulfStream really plays towards the speed up front. So I really like a couple horses that are going to sit just off the pace and are going to kind of first crack on that favorite that should be setting the pace and hopefully coming back to the field. So I'm going to land with the number 4, Poolside with Slim at 8-1 as my top pick. We get Frankie Dettori, a Hall of Fame type jockey that not only is riding this horse, but is getting back on this horse that won a grade 2 at Keeneland running an 88 buyer speed figure. It's we're going to need to see a little bit more effort than that to close out this type of deal. But I like the fact that this horse isn't going to be on the lead, but like I said, is going to get first crack and just kind of sitting on those, mid flight. And hopefully, like I said, the pace setter coming back to the field. And like I said, the 1, just having too much ground to make up. So I'm going to land with the number 4, Poolside with Slim at 8-1 as my top pick. And then I actually do really like a 9-2, kind of, I would say, third choice, the number 7, Special Juan. We get Luis Saez on board. I really didn't like what he did back in October in the grade 1 First Lady. Couldn't change leads. He was stuck on the wrong lead the whole time. He's come back and trained really well at Prairie Meadows, throwing in some really good, not only times, but well spaced out workouts. So kind of leaning towards his trainer, Brendan Walsh, thinking this horse is going to run a big race. Again, he's not going to come from too far back. I think he's got to hopefully get that wrong leads figured out. So that's my second pick, and number 7, Special Juan. And, like I said, I really like that kind of stalking trip. And so the number 6, Ozara at 12-1, so a big price. You get Joel Rosario, who has great hands, really quiet hands. So he finishes well. So you get Joel on board. I like this horse. Again, he's going to need to, up his game as far as buyer speed figures, but I think the pace of this race hits him right between the eyes. So those are kind of my 3 top choices. I got the 4 on top, the 7 in second, and the 6 in third. And then, try and get a little spicy in an exacta. Like I said, we've got an 8-1, a 12-1, and a 9-2. If we can get any of those up top, that's 4, 6, and the 7 over the 1, 2, 4, 6, and 7. So I'm completely chucking out the morning line favorite, the 8. I do think the 1, while I'm playing against the 1, tax implications, I do think that he can kind of come up and dirty it up for second, maybe. So I'm not going to get beat by that horse. So like I said, it's 4, 6, 7 over 1, 2, 4, 6, and 7. That will cost you $12 to punch. I don't think there's any possible way that this doesn't pay at least $30 if it cashes, because of basically who we have on top. We're chucking out the morning line and the second choice up top. Let's try and get paid with some prices at GulfStream. And that's also race 12. So it's the Honey Hole Stakes, but it's race 12 at GulfStream.
Well, I like where your eyes are there, and I think it will pay real decent there. So take a look at the 4, 6, 7 with the 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 for $12 there. The next race, Santa Anita, race 10, grade 1, Santa Anita handicap.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, obviously my eyes are going to be on the San Felipe, as that's the 3-year-old colt's vying for that spot in the Kentucky Derby to get points. But I mean, who doesn't like the grade 1 Santa Anita handicap? We call it the big cap, if you're familiar with Santa Anita. And so here's a slight different one. I do really like the favorite in this spot. That's the number 7 Locked at 3-2. We did talk about this horse when we talked about the grade 1 Pegasus World Cup back in late January, actually. This was the morning line favorite. ended up being the favorite going into the gate. But as we talked about and as we saw, we loved Wildcats as Wildcats is just the horse for the course. Loves it at GulfStream, so we had a good reason to play against the 7 locked. But now this is a spot that we do like. He has ran at Santa Anita before. That was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Ran third to a horse. Ran third behind a horse named Fierceness. I don't know if you know that horse, Jeff. One of the few races he's beat us. He's beat us, and we beat him. So again, another horse we've talked about. So there's nothing to knock against running third against Fierceness, and he was actually went off as the favorite that race. So he had excuses in the Pegasus. He turned his head at the start and completely missed the break. Had way too much to overcome. I don't think we're going to see that this time. I think he's going to be up and kind of near the pace. You get Jose Ortiz flying over to Santa Anita to run in this horse. Not going to knock Todd Pletcher. This horse also owns the best buyer speed figure in this race, at least recently. So I do like the number 7 locked at 3-2 up front, but there's not a lot to like about kind of other horses that should take money in this race. And if you go back to the rail, the number 1 Express Train at 10-1, I think there's a lot to like about this horse. I don't necessarily love him up front unless, Locked has a troubled trip up front and, everything kind of comes into Express Train's lap as far as, how the race plays out. But if you look at what this horse has done at Santa Anita, he's ran at Santa Anita 15 times, and he's hit the board 12 of those 15 times. So this is a horse that likes this track. We just talked about White Barrio and how he loves GulfStream, and we talked about that horse in the Pegasus, and look at what he did. I think we're going to get a good effort from Express Train. He should save all the ground. He has really good buyer speed figures to look back at. Now, granted, that's back in 2022, but he has races that he can dig on. He likes the track. He's gonna save ground. I think there's a lot to like about the 10-1. And then the other ones I'm gonna kind of basically punch holes in. I don't really like the number 3 Hit Show at 5-2. That's your second choice. I hate not liking a horse that's ridden by Flavian Pratt. But if you look at what this horse has done lately, all he's done is run on a sloppy track as the favorite, did everything that he was supposed to do, didn't really run well as the favorite at Churchill. And so, I just don't. I think there's holes to punch on this horse. I'm not necessarily, it's Brad Cox that's flying this horse across the country to Santa Anita. So obviously he's seeing something, but this is a horse that I'm going to try to beat at least up top. And then a horse that kind of interesting. Again, I'm not going to argue with a trainer, especially a Hall of Fame trainer that's won the Triple Crown twice and Bob Baffert. The number 2 New King, I do kind of like the price at 8-1. The only thing this horse has done is won a maiden race, and he won an optional claiming at $50K. Now he's going to run in possibly the biggest race at Santa Anita. And like I said, the big cap, the grade 1 Santa Anita handicap, whatever you call it. I think this horse is going to have to dig really deep. But why is Bob Baffert running in this race? He doesn't necessarily need to run in the race. It's not a cash grab for him. Obviously, he sees something. So maybe this horse can kind of muck it up in second at a good price at 8-1. Hopefully doesn't take too much money. So this one I'm going to kind of get a little slim in the exacta. So I'm going to go 1-7 up top. I do really like the favorite locked at 3-2, but I like the rail horse at 10-1. So 1-7 up top over 1-2-3-7. That only costs you $6. I think the only way that we hit this and it pays around $6 is if it goes locked over Hit Show, which I don't necessarily like. I would love maybe a locked over an Express Train, or maybe Express Train over New King, and then we'll get paid really well. So like I said, it's 1-7 up top over 1-2-3-7 for $1 that will cost you $6 to punch.
9 Saturdays till May. We'll have you on a lot more leading up to the Kentucky Derby. What do your eyes see the next few weeks and some big races ahead?
Yeah, like I kind of mentioned, this is the time for 3-year-old colts to to vie for their spot in the Kentucky Derby. This is how you have to earn points to get in the leaderboard and to be, I would say top 20, but I want to say it's top 18 to get in the gate, because I think there's 2 automatic qualifiers, the Japanese horse and the Dubai horse, that automatically get in. So, but you need, like I said, you need to be basically in that top 20 in the points just to get into that starting gate in May. So we're going to see a lot of not only good 3-year-old races, but like we're going to see tomorrow, we're going to see good 3-year-old races, but we're also going to get graded stakes races on the card. So keep that phone line open, Jeff. You're going to hear from me a lot as far as trying to book some time on your shows with you to chat some 4-legged animals running in an oval.
Well, of course, we can't wait. You got carte blanche back here whenever needed it. We know where to find you on X or Twitter at SmoothTurn2, but tell everyone about your work at Wage Talk and what you have to offer.
Yeah, I'm over at wt.buzz/SA. That's a direct link to my page. I've got daily full card selections. I am going to continue to do that, but I'm switching it up a little bit. I'm going to start coming out with basically horse racing plays, at 2%, 3%, 4% plays based on, what those tickets are going to cost you. I'll have win plays out. I'll have, pick 5s, pick 3s. I'm going to basically look across the country at different cards and come up with bets that I'm going to play myself as well, and try and get a little bit of the elementary bettors in to just say, hey, this is the bet to play. These are the races they are. Go look at them. You don't need to go through my full card to kind of come up with your own bets. But then I'm going to have that option as well for, other people that do like my full card selections, full, bets and whatnot. And also, I'm going to be starting handicapping baseball and golf. Golf will start next week. Baseball will start opening day. I'm not a spring training bettor. I'm a spring training watcher and fan of the game, not a bettor. So, like I said, wt.buzz/SA. I'll have my horse racing cards over there, as well as golf and baseball. So let's cash some winners.
Sean, we can't thank you enough. Look so forward to the next 9 weeks leading up to the Kentucky Derby. Lots of shows coming to talk some horses. Best of luck this weekend. Tell the boys in Vegas, the East Coast says hello.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go basically rub elbows with Matt Grissom all weekend over at the Las Vegas ballpark to watch the college baseball tournament. So that should be a lot of fun.
Well, he was live here in the car on the way to the airport, so I know you guys will have a great weekend. Send a lot of pictures, will you?
Will do. Absolutely.
All right. Take care, Sean.
All right. Thank you.
Sean Alvarez, go find him at SmoothTurn2, the best in the business when it comes to horses. Head on over to Wager Talk. Pick up his horse package. As he says, baseball's coming, golf's coming. Great friend, great colleague. Be a part of it. Long term wins the race, guys. Quick commercial break and we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Good Food. At Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, you'll find the highest quality meats from a variety of delicious cuts, tomahawks, salmon fillets, ribeyes, and plenty more to choose from. With an easy-to-use mobile-friendly website, selecting your pick of meat is made quick and easy. And don't forget, worrying about your dinner is a thing of the past. Check out some of the amazing subscription packages that Atlanta Steaks and Seafood has to offer. Fresh steak and seafood straight to your door. Order online at atlantasteaksandseafood.com.
Well, a great way to start the day. We had the NCAA insiders on, of course, and then from there, right with Sean Alvarez talking some horses, GulfStream and Santa Anita there. If you go to my timeline at EC Sports Invest, you're going to see an announcement there. We are proud to have partnered with the Dub Club. I've been doing this now. This is our 10th year of public service. And we have our own website at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. They reached out to us. I've met with them 3 or 4 times personally, met with them at the Encore for Ohio State versus Notre Dame championship football. And I figured, why not? I believe in them. I believe in their product. I believe in what they're doing. So if you go to my timeline at EC Sports Invest, there's 2 packages there. If you want to dip your toes from today all the way through the conference championships. That's till you get your bracket on Sunday. A very small $24.99 get in. Or if you want to look for a little long term and look for from today all the way through April 7th, that's the conference championships. That is the play-in games. That's the beginning of the tournament, the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the Final Four, and Championship Monday on the 7th. $99.99. There's a promo code, $25 off the madness. So for $74, you get 5 weeks of action. Again, that is on our timeline at EC Sports Invest. Closing bell around 3 o'clock today. Me and Riley will be back to wrap up this week's full of action, tonight's card, and get you ready for the weekend. Thank you guys so much, and stay tuned.